Hello students, welcome back. Today I am Radha from Ardent Progressive School. Going to start another topic, or we can say another chapter here, chapter number 3rd, that is the plant kingdom. So in the earlier chapter we have discussed about the classification system. So it means that as the diversity is more and more on this earth and we cannot study each and every individual, so for our ease, so what scientists did, they have classified into 5 kingdom classification. And here in the second chapter, in the biological classification, we have done that according to R.H. Whittaker, that is the most acceptable. Okay, according to that, there are 5 kingdom classification: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So out of them, already we have discussed Monera, under which most of the bacteria they are coming, right? Then comes to the Protista. In beans there are so many organisms like amoeba, paramecium, all these things are present. Then comes to the fungi is what fungus like, and again we have done how many different types of fungi there are. Okay, so after that there is another kingdom, that is the kingdom plant, or we can say kingdom Plantae, under which all the plants they are coming. Okay, so here we are having the separate chapter. Why it is so? Because the kingdom Plantae, it consists more and more things, and we have to study everything in a detailed manner. Okay, so here the first thing which I want to say, that study of plants. Okay, whenever we are studying the plants here, what is that study? It comes under the botany. Okay, so botany is what? It is nothing, it is the scientific study of all the plants here under it. Okay, now another thing about the kingdom Plantae, that if we are moving from lower to higher, okay, so what we have said, that Monera, they are the lower ones. Okay, and which one is the higher one? The higher one is what? Above to the Monera, it is the Protista. Then above to the Protista there is a Fungi. Okay, then Plantae, and then Animalia. Okay, so in this series we are studying, so as we are moving upward, okay, we are observing that some more changes are there in the body. It means that the body becomes more and more complicated. Okay, so if you will compare all the things which we have discussed in the Monera, okay, with the Plantae, okay, which we are going to study, so you will find that now the things gets more complicated, and as if we will move to the kingdom Animalia, again it will become more and more advanced. So here what we can say, if you will discuss the characters, okay, so same thing which we are going to study here also in the kingdom Plantae, one by one, that is a cell type. Okay, so if you will recall that what is the cell type of Monera. Okay, so what is the cell type? It is whether it is a prokaryotic or it is a eukaryotic cell. Okay, it means that whether they are having the defined nucleus, yes or no. So only in the Monera, okay, this is the only kingdom which is having the prokaryotic cell. It means that nucleus is not defined. Okay, so here we can say Monera, it is a prokaryotic. Otherwise in rest of the kingdoms we are having what type of cell? It is the eukaryotic cell. It means that now cell having true nucleus. If cell having the true nucleus, what will happen? Then all the cell organelles are also there in the cell. So what you can say it here, cell type is what? What type of cell type? It is a eukaryotic, okay, which is having the true nucleus. Now comes to the body organization. It means that how the body is made up of. Okay, so here in case of Monera, it is what? It is the single body. Okay, what we can say? It is a unicellular, right? Now, as we are moving upward in the Protista, in Protista also, body is what? It is only made up of single cell. Just see the structure of amoeba. What is it? It is having only single cell. So Protista is what? Having the single cell. Now you are just moving to the fungi. Okay. Fungi is what? It is multicellular. It means that it is made up of so many cells. Right. Now Today we are going to study the kingdom Plantae. So how the body is made up of now? You can say that the body is having what? It is having the cell, okay? Or again it is a multicellular, as well as they are having the tissue also. Okay, so what type of formation? The plant body is made up of cell, and the accumulation, or we can say the combination of all the cell, it is making the tissue. And that's why if you will recall about the xylem and phloem, okay, xylem and phloem, what are they? They are nothing, they are the tissues of the plant, which are the conducting tissue, right? So we can say here also the body is what? They are the multicellular. Okay. So these are the characteristics. So as we are reaching up to the kingdom Plantae, now the body is what? They are eukaryotic, as well as they are the multicellular. Okay. Now comes to the cell wall. Now cell wall is what? Cell wall is made up of, in case of fungi also, which is present in case of Monera also, right? So we can say that in case of Monera, cell wall is present, but the cell wall is made up of different composition. What was that composition? That was the peptidoglycan, right? Now as we are moving upward into the protista, now what is happening? That cell wall is absent. Why it is absent? Because they have to move from one place to another place. So that for that what is required? The body should not have the cell wall. Directly they are having the plasma membrane, which is providing the flexibility to the body. Okay. Now comes to the fungi. Fungi is what? Again we can say that cell wall is present. Yes, cell wall is present, but now the composition is somehow changed. Okay, so we can say the cell wall in case of fungi is made of chitin. Okay, then just come to the kingdom Plantae. In kingdom Plantae, now again the body is fixed. Okay, only in protista. Why it is so? Because the body is showing the movement. That's why the cell wall is absent. So whenever they are having the movement, we can say there will be some flexibility, so there will be no cell, but those things which are fixed at one place, they are having the cell wall. Okay, so we can say in case of Plantae also they are having the cell wall, but now the composition is different. So what was the composition? Composition is that cellulose present, or we can say hemicellulose. Okay, hemicellulose, or we can say pectin. So these two things, they are present in the cell wall of the plants, right? And these are the points which is differentiating each and every kingdom from each other. Okay, now comes to the nuclear membrane. It's very easy. Then when we are saying that cell is what? It is a eukaryotic type. Okay, if I will talk about the Monera, it is a prokaryotic type. So but if here it is a eukaryotic type, what will happen? Yes, the nucleus is defined one. If nucleus will be there in the cell, what will happen? There will be the nuclear membrane also. So what is going to happen? Yes, nuclear membrane is present in case of the plant cell, right? Then comes to the mode of nutrition. Here if you will compare with Monera, what is the mode of nutrition? That it can be the autotrophic or it can be the heterotrophic. We have done the photosynthetic bacteria as well as the chemosynthetic bacteria. Okay, so many bacteria we have done. Now comes to the protista. Again they are heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Why? Because they are dependent on the other one. Likewise, if you will compare with the fungi, fungi is what? Again it is having the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, and we have done that how many different types of heterotrophic nutrition is in case of the fungi also. Okay, like saprotrophic. Okay, now if you will moving to the Plantae kingdom, here what type of mode of nutrition will be there? Here the mode of nutrition is what? It is generally autotrophic mode of nutrition. It means that they are photosynthetic and they can prepare its own food with the help of photosynthesis process, right? So what we can say, that they are having the autotrophic mode of nutrition. So here along with this autotrophic mode of nutrition, they are some insectivorous also, as well as they are some parasitic also. Okay, so what can be the insectivorous plants? Insectivorous plants, it means they are dependent on the insects. So here I am just writing insectivorous plants are those plants which are dependent on their food or the nutrient to the insect. Okay, example is what? Venus flytrap. And you must have done that in this plant what is happening? They are having pitcher like body. Okay, if this pitcher like body is there, if any insect is coming towards it, okay, if any insect is coming towards this, what will happen? They are having the lid. Okay, it will get trapped inside this pitcher, and after that this lid will get closed. Okay, and likewise they are fulfilling its nutrient requirement with the help of this insect. Okay, so in that condition we can say there are some exception which are not the autotrophic. Instead of that they are the insectivorous. Okay, now another to it, there are some parasitic also. What do you understand by the parasitic? It means that whenever it is present in any host, it is going to kill that host. Okay, so to derive its nutrition, it is going to kill the host cell. An example is what? Cuscuta. Okay, I am writing here Cuscuta is example. Again, it's become very important, which is also known as the Amar bale. So what its habit? If it is any tree, okay, if it is any tree, now this Cuscuta, what it is going to do, that it will surround all the tree, okay, like this. And after surrounding the tree, what it is doing? It is taking all the nutrition. Okay, so after taking all the nutrition, the plants will get died due to the yellowing, and it is deriving its nutrition. So this is what? This is the parasitic type of mode of nutrition in plants. Right, now comes to the mode of nutrition or mode of reproduction. So how they are going to reproduce? It means that how they are going to increase their population. Okay, so we can say that they are having three different methods. What are they? Vegetative method, asexual method, and the sexual method. Okay, so these three methods are there here in the plant. So what do you understand by the vegetative method? Vegetative method is that method in which there will be use of the any vegetative part, and it will give rise to a new plant. So here there may be the fragmentation. Okay, fragmentation is what? It's a type of what? It can be used that if any body parts will divide into different fragments, so each fragment having capacity to give rise to a new plant. Okay, then comes to the asexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, again there will be no role of the two gametes. So how they are going to reproduce? That they are having some spore formation, and they will give rise to a new plant. Now the thing is that in case of plant, that is the sexual reproduction. Okay, so this sexual reproduction is very important in case of plant. Why? Because there will be role of two gametes. Okay, so here we can say that in lower plants also as well as in the higher plants, there are somehow different reproduction system. Okay, so here in any of the plant, it will complete its life cycle into two phases. Okay, that is the diploid sporophytic phase. You must have to understand diploid sporophyte, DS, and here haploid gametophytic phase, HG. Okay, HG and DS. So here how the reproduction is going to take place? It means that in any of the life cycle, the plant has to maintain both the condition. Okay, it may depend that which one is the dominant one, but yes, the plants will remain for any of these phase in the whole life cycle. So if I will talk about this diploid sporophytic phase, it means that if I am starting the cycle with the help of diploid condition. Okay, that is the diploid 2n. So this condition, it is known as what? It is known as the sporophytic phase. Why sporophytic? Because this phase, it is going to form the spores. That's why it is known as the sporophytic phase. So if any plant body, or if it is anything that is diploid in condition, what it is going, it will form some spore, because it is the sporophytic phase. So due to the sporophytic phase, what it is doing? It is forming the spores. Right? And how these all spores are haploid in nature. So what type of cell division will be there? There will be the meiosis, that is the reductional division. Now if there will be reductional division in the diploid condition, it will give rise to the haploid spores. So each and every spores, they are the haploid, okay, and out of them some may be the male and some will be the female, right? So here what is going to happen, they are forming the gametes, and that's why the phase will be the gametophytic phase. So some of them will be male gamete, okay, and some will be the female gamete. So when there will be the haploid condition, so what you will call it, you will call it the gametophytic phase. Why? Because now they are forming the gametes, and gametes always and always they are in haploid in nature, okay. Once they will form, they will fuse with each other, and what they are going to form, they are going to form the zygote, and from the zygote we know that it is what, it is now 2Na number, and again it will follow the same cycle, that is a sporophytic condition, right? So we can say that this life cycle keeps on going, and in any of the phase of the plant it will be there, okay. So here diploid means sporophytic, then haploid means gametophytic phase, and when it is alternating with each other, when the diploid condition is alternating with the haploid condition, it is also known as what, alternation of generation, okay, alternation of generation. This question is very very important, that what is alternation of generation, okay. Sometimes it happens that they are free or independent with each other, okay. It means that this condition is not dependent on the sporophytic condition, and sporophytic condition is not dependent on the gametophytic condition. So that time also there will be in the alternation of generation, okay. And you can see that some of them will be the haplontic life cycle, some will be the diplontic life cycle, and some will be the haplodiplontic life cycle. So in different plants which we are going to study in this chapter, they are showing the different types of alternation of generation, right? And if I will talk about the haplontic condition, means that the plants mostly they are present in the haploid condition, okay. So we can say when the haploid condition is dominant, it is known as the haplontic life cycle, and if the plants will be more in the diploid condition, it is known as the diplontic life cycle, and when it is moving both in equal, haploid as well as diploid, you can say it is haplodiplontic life cycle, okay. So one by one we will study in each and every plant how they are going to occur, right? Now here we have completed the basic thing about the plant kingdom. Now comes to the system of classification. So whenever we are going for the classification of the plants also, because again plants are having so many species, okay. So if I will talk about the lower plants as well as the higher plants, right, so there must be a classification system. So this classification system we have divided into 3 parts, okay. So in the biological classification chapter we have done how the scientists they have classified, right. So these 3 things are there: artificial system of classification. Here in this classification system, they have classified the plants only on the gross morphological characteristics. Now, what is this gross morphological characteristics? It means that they have considered only and only the outer part, okay, or we can say only the vegetative part. They have not considered anything which is present inside the cell. Why it is so? Because there was no invention of the microscope, so they were not able to see the things which is present inside the plant cell, okay. So what they have done, at least they have started the classification, but that system is what, it is an artificial system, because they have not studied more in detailed manner, okay. Example is what, Aristotle. According to Aristotle, what they have found, that they have classified the plant only 3 parts. What are they? Herbs, shrubs and trees, right, only just on the basis of their outer appearance. If plant head is less or the short, we can say herbs, then somehow bushy like they said shrub, and if the height will be tall, they said that it is a trees. Okay, but this classification system is not accepted one, or mostly accepted after the discovery, or we can say invention of the microscope, because there are some more things which cannot share the same characteristics. Okay, so here we can say the artificial system of classification, it is only and only based on the super morphological characteristic. Morphological means the outer appearance, that how the plant look like, what is the habit, okay, how it is growing, or what is the color, what is the number and shape of the leaves, right? So on the basis of that thing only. Along with this, they have seen the androecium also. What is androecium? The male reproductive unit of the flower. So here they have found that how many number of androecium, how they are connected, all these things comes under the artificial system of classification. Right, now comes to the point, that is analogy. So we can say that analogous based condition is there. Analogy is what you must have done in 10th grade also, that same structure and the different function. Okay, it means that origin is same but function is different. And another one is the analogy in which different structure is there. Okay, different structure is there or same function. Okay, so like these two conditions are there. If I will talk about the analogy, here we can say all they are having different function, but they are saying that they are having the same origin, right? Then comes to the natural system of classification. Natural classification system is what? That yes, they are having the same structure or same origin, but they are having a different function. So that's why we can say that not only we have to consider the outer appearance, we have to consider the internal part of the plant also. So how you can study? When you will take the cross section, when you will cut the plant, then only you will see the internal part of the plant. So we can say external as well as internal. So here in this part they have considered both external as well as internal. If you are going to see the internal part, what is that thing? That is the anatomy. So morphology is what? Outer appearance. Anatomy is what? When we are dissecting the plants and we are seeing the inner part also, we can say that is the anatomy. It means that when we are talking about the tissue level, okay, when we can see the xylem, phloem, all these things under the microscope. Then comes to the cytology. What is cytology? It means that when we are studying about the plant cell, what is the thing which is present inside the plant cell, that thing is known as the cytology. Okay, then comes to the physiology. It means that how they are going to the metabolism, how the plants they are taking the water, okay, how the nutrients they are taking. So all these things comes under the physiology. So they have taken so many aspects to study their system or according to their classification. Then comes to the ontogeny. Ontogeny means that how the plants they are going to develop, right? Then comes to the reproduction, how the reproduction is going to take place, and then comes to the biochemistry. Biochemistry means that what are the compounds which is present inside the plants, right? What are the different composition they are made up of. So on the basis of all these things, they have classified the plants, and that classification system is far better than the earlier one, okay, because they have considered both the characters. So what you will call it? It will call it the natural system of classification, in which they said there will be some more aspect, right? But here in the earlier classification, they gave the equal importance to the vegetative part as well as the sexual characteristics, okay. But here they said that yes, there will be some changes, because the vegetative characters they can be disturbed by the environmental condition, okay. If the condition will be favorable, then vegetative part will be good in growth, okay. But the reproductive or the we can say this genetics part, they are not going to affect by the environmental condition, right? So vegetative can be affected by the environment, but the reproductive part they cannot be affected by the environment. That's why here the classification system is what? Natural classification system. Then comes to the phylogenetic. We have done this thing in systematic also. In taxonomy, what we are considering? We are just classifying the organism, but in the systematic, along with this classification, we are dealing with it, how they are evolving with the earlier species, okay. It means that there are some character which is somehow related to the earlier kingdom, okay. Likewise, all these are having the some characteristics matching with the earlier one. So that is what there is a phylogenetic relationship. It means that they are sharing some characters with the earlier one, right? And we all know that we are having ancestor, that is the A. Okay, it means that we are sharing some of the character from them. As the evolution will take place, there will be more advancement, and this one is what? This is the evolution relationship, or we can say the phylogenetic relationship, and that's why we are calling the phylogenetic system. And here in this one we are including all the characters along with their evolution relationship. Okay, and this one is the most acceptable one, right? And here some more basis of classification of taxonomy, that is the numerical taxonomy. So what do you understand by the numerical taxonomy? It means that when there will be the classification based on the numbers, it means that they are assigning some numbers to the characters. Okay, for example, they are having different types of plants. Okay, they are having the different types of plants. What they have done, they have assigned the numbers. It means that they have assigned that these are the characters. One character, so they have assigned number. Second character, second number. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. It means that they are going to study 7 characters and they have assigned the names, numbers to these 7 characters. They have not defined the number. Okay, and these are the plants. So how they look like, A, B, C, D. These are the plants. Now what they are doing, they are saying that whether these characters they are present. Okay, so 6 characters is absent in this plant. Okay, so it will be nil. 7 character is present. Likewise in B plant they are having these characters. Okay, and these are nil. So what they are doing, they are assuming that how many characters they are common in A, B, C, D. Okay, so likewise what they are doing, they are feeding all the data into the computer. Okay, and when they are feeding these data into the computer, what is going to happen? There will be the processing, and it will evaluate the work, and it will be easier for us. Earlier we have to see each and everything by our own, but here in this the numerical taxonomy we are just assigning the number, and later on we will get our result in a proper manner. Okay, so by this study we can study so many large number of data also, okay, at a single time. Then comes to the cytotaxonomy. Cytotaxonomy is that first of all, what is taxonomy? It means that classification system. So when we are classifying the things or classifying the plants based on the cytology, it means that how the cell it is made up of. Inside the cell, what are the different things in different types of plants? Here we are talking about the cytotaxonomy. Then comes to the chemotaxonomy. It means that what are the chemicals? Okay, what are the chemicals which is present in different plants? So if you will smell the pudina, then mint, so you can differentiate that there is a different smell, different aroma of different plant. So why it is so? It is just due to the chemicals which is present inside it, and on the basis of this thing or the chemical or the compound we have classified the plant. It is known as the chemotaxonomy, right? So here we have completed this part of how the plants characters are there and what are the different classification system. Okay, so now we'll understand the different classification of the plant, right? So now as we have discussed that how we can classify the plants on the different basis, so here this is the classification which we have to study in this chapter, and here it is a flow chart how we are going to study each and everything. So we can say that kingdom Plantae, first of all we have divided into 2 parts, that is the cryptogamy and the phanerogamy. It means that some of them they are the non-flowering plants, okay, and they are the flowering plants, right? So of the first basis which we have considered here, non-flowering and the flowering plants, right? Then comes to the another basis, that differentiation. It means that whether the plant body is differentiated into root, stems and leaves. Okay, so if you will see the higher plants, you can see that they are having proper root also, they are having proper stem also, they are having proper leaves also. But if you will talk about the lower plants, okay, so we can say that as life originates, it originates from where? From the water level. So initially the plants they are present in the water condition. It means that some of the plants they are growing in the water condition. So later on gradually they are moving towards the land. Okay, so some plants they have started to grow into the terrestrial part also. Okay, so now again they will get some more advancement. Now they are growing more and more into the terrestrial or into the soil condition. Okay, so this is the evolution which is going to take place in the plant kingdom, that they have started with the aquatic condition. Okay, so those plants which they are living in the water condition, they are not having any proper differentiation. It means that they are not having proper roots, stems and leaves. And those plants, those which we have seen earlier one, which is present in the water condition, we are saying that they are having no differentiation. Okay, now, and these are known as thallophyta. Thallophyta is what? The plant body is just like the thallus only. Okay, so just like a thallus, and this is known as a thallophyta. So most of the algae, they are here in the aquatic condition, and we have said that is the algae, right? And these algae can be of three different types here, that is the chlorophyce, phaeophyce and rhodophyce. So you have to understand, chloro means what? That yes, plants, they are autotrophic mode of nutrition, so they are having what? They are having the chlorophyll content. But yes, along with this chlorophyll, which is imparting the green color in the plants, so this chlorophyce is what? It is green in color, right? But sometimes it happens that along with the chlorophyce, there are some more pigments like xanthophylls, fucoxanthin, or we can say the other pigment which is responsible for giving the orange color, brown color or the red color. Okay, so that time what we can say, that along when there will be more and more chlorophyll content, this is the what type of algae? It is a green algae, right, due to this chlorophyll content. But along with this chlorophyll content, when they are having some more pigment, so it will become brown in color. Okay, so this phaeophyce is what? This is brown in color, but yes, along the, why you cannot say that is a brown algae, so it doesn't contain any chlorophyll. Yes, chlorophyll will remain in all type of algae. Likewise, in rhodophyce also, along with the chlorophyll, they are having some more number of pigment which is imparting red in color, right? So all these, they are present where? In the aquatic condition. So one by one we will study about the habitat, different thing about all these types of algae, right? So these algae, they are responsible for what? They are responsible for the fixing of the CO2, or we can say for the photosynthesis, right? So here what we have discussed, that this one is the our highest one kingdom, and this one is what? This is subkingdom. To subkingdom are what? These are the cryptogamy and the phanerogamy, under which we are having division. So how many divisions we have to study under the plant kingdom? 5 division. Okay, so the first division which we have to study, thallophyta, or under the thallophyta we are having the algae having different classes. So all these are what? These are the different classes under the algae. Okay, that is the chlorophyce, phaeophyce and the rhodophyce. Now comes to the differentiation. It means that as it is moving towards the land, there will be some differentiation in the vegetative part. So what will the differentiation? On that basis we are having the second division. Okay, that is the second division, bryophyta, and the third division is the pteridophyta. So here bryophyta, we can see these are the amphibians of plankton. It means that they can live both in land as well as water, but yes, both of them, they are dependent for their reproduction in water only. Okay, reproduction will take place only in presence of water. So what are the examples of bryophyta? Two things, liverwort and moss. So liverwort, the examples, they are the Mergantia, and the mosses, they are the sphagnum. So we will understand the economic importance of these things here also, right? Then comes to the third division, that is the pteridophyta. So all the ferns which is very attractive in nature. Okay, so you can say that it comes under the pteridophyta. Yes, they can also live in both land and water, but starting takes place with the help of bryophyta. That's why we are calling them amphibians of plankton. But yes, for their reproduction also, they are dependent for the water, right? Then the classification under the pteridophyta, they are having again 4 classes, that is Psilopsida, Lycopsida, Sphanopsida and Pteropsida. So one by one again we will study all these things. So all these are what? These are the non-flowering plants. Now the plants, they have adapted itself for the terrestrial part. Okay, so now all the plants which are living in the terrestrial part, they are sexual. Okay, they are having what? They are having proper flowering plants, right? And these flowering plants having known as the spermatophyta also. Okay, so we have classified the fourth one will be the division, that is a gymnosperm. So you can see that all the forest plant, okay, most of the forest trees, they are gymnosperm, like pinus, okay, cycas, all these are what? These are gymnosperm. But another one is the fifth division, that is the angiosperm. Again there is a difference between these two. here in this part, the fruiting body, okay, the gymnosperms, they are not having any covered structure. It means that seeds, they are naked in case of the gymnosperm, but here in case of the angiosperm, the seed covered by the fruit. Okay, you must have seen the mango. In mango seed, it's covered by some fruit, so this comes under the angiosperm and gymnosperm. Okay, so these are what? These are the higher plants. What we are calling the higher plants? Gymnosperms and angiosperms. Again, angiosperms we have divided into two parts, dicot and monocot. It means that those seeds were having the two cotyledons, they comes in the dicot, and those who are having single seed, it is known as the monocot. Okay, so this is the whole summary which we have to study in the later section of this chapter. Okay, so for today that much is there. That's all for today. Thank you.